MySpace says it is coming back. And my first reaction wasn't excitement, it was concern, because the internet has resurrected plenty of old names without resurrecting what made them worth remembering. If MySpace returns as another endless feed filled with influencers, recommended content, and people selling themselves, then it isn't really MySpace. It is just modern social media wearing a vintage t-shirt. There is no launch date yet, and almost no confirmed information about what the new platform will contain. Current owners Chris and Tim Vanderhook revealed their intention to relaunch it in a recent documentary, saying they are waiting for the right time. That makes this less of a product announcement and more of a promise. But the interest surrounding that promise tells us something important. People aren't merely nostalgic for the MySpace name, they are nostalgic for something the modern internet removed. What I liked about MySpace was the customization. With some simple HTML, you could change the colors, add a background, rearrange the page, and make the whole thing feel like yours. Sometimes it looked terrible. Actually, a lot of the time it looked terrible. Music started playing before the page finished loading. Graphics flashed in colors nobody should have combined. But that mess contained a real person. You weren't selecting a personality from 5 approved templates. That freedom came from an older idea of the internet. Before every online experience was squeezed into an app, websites felt like places. GeoCities gave people digital neighborhoods. AOL away messages became miniature personal statements. Message boards had their own rules, personalities, and regulars. MySpace brought that homemade web into social networking. Your profile wasn't merely where your posts appeared, it was your room, and visiting somebody's page felt a little like being invited inside. Then there was the top friends list. It could cause arguments. Moving somebody down or removing them completely was the early social media version of making a public statement without admitting you were making one. But underneath that drama was a meaningful difference. The center of your social world was a small group of people you actually chose. Your profile displayed relationships, not an audience total. The question wasn't how many people followed you. It was who mattered enough to make the list. Modern platforms reversed that relationship. Friends became followers. A profile became a brand. The ordinary update gradually became content, and content became something measured by reach, engagement, watch time, and conversion. Even people who aren't selling anything can feel as if they should be building an audience. Everybody is encouraged to become an influencer, or at least behave like one. Social media stopped asking, "Who do you know?" and started asking, "How many strangers can you attract?" That change did not happen because people suddenly became more narcissistic. The system changed what it rewarded. A chronological collection of updates from people you chose is limited by the size of your social circle. A recommendation machine can keep producing material from strangers forever. Once attention became the product, a quiet evening checking on family and friends was less valuable than an endless session watching whatever kept you from leaving. The interface changed because the business needed different behavior. That does not mean the early internet was perfect. It was slow, chaotic, poorly moderated, and filled with scams, spam, security problems, and people pretending to be somebody else. MySpace itself carried advertising and helped musicians, comedians, and other creators build audiences. The difference wasn't that money had never entered the room. The difference was that monetization had not yet swallowed the entire purpose of the room. You could promote something without every ordinary interaction feeling like part of a marketing strategy. The encouraging part is that demand for a different kind of social network clearly exists. Space, hey, an independent, MySpace-inspired service unaffiliated with the original company, promotes customizable profiles, blogs, bulletins, forums, privacy, and freedom from personalized advertising algorithms. It reports more than 2 million members. That doesn't guarantee a revived MySpace will succeed, but it proves people still understand the appeal. Customization wasn't an obsolete feature. It represented control over how you appeared and what you saw. A successful MySpace comeback, therefore, cannot be judged by whether it recreates the old color scheme or brings back a familiar profile shape. Nostalgia can reproduce the furniture without rebuilding the house. The real test is whether users control their pages, choose what enters their social space, and connect without being forced onto a performance treadmill. Bring back profile music if you want. Bring back top friends if everybody can survive the arguments. But first, bring back the feeling that the user owns the page. And this is where I worry they will ruin it. The temptation will be enormous. Add the addictive feed. Prioritize creators with the biggest numbers. Fill every empty space with sponsored material and call it modernization. That would erase the exact quality people want back. If recognizing how these systems changed helps make the internet feel less inevitable, there are more connections like this waiting here. We don't need another platform teaching friends to treat one another like potential customers. The early internet was better in one way that matters here. It gave ordinary people room to be individuals before asking them to become products. A new MySpace cannot return us to that time, and it shouldn't pretend the past had no problems. But it can restore some of what disappeared. Personal spaces, deliberate friendships, and creativity without constant performance. MySpace can come back. I just hope the modern internet doesn't get there first and ruin it. Thanks for watching. If this brought back a few memories, give the video a like and subscribe for more Gen X perspectives. Then keep going with the recommended video on your screen.